Remember when Ellen would do that thing where she would like come in and she would dance and then she would like sit in her chair like this and then she would like slowly lower herself into her chair? Do you guys remember that? Is it just me? Is Ellen still canceled? I think she is. Probably shouldn't bring her up. Anyways. Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Rachel. Today, what we are doing, I thought that I would show very beginner slash very practical way of annotating your books. I feel like that's like super trendy right now, is annotating your books, at least over on Bookstagram. I love that. I think it's beautiful. I think it's very cool. However, there's a lot of people who, at least I see commenting on those posts being like, I need someone to tell me how to do this. Where you even begin. I'm here to do like basically a beginner's course on how to annotate your books. That is not to say I am the end all be all of annotating books. Honestly, I think that my annotations are all that beautiful, but I'm learning and I'm, getting better and better. And that's really what it is. Like, you're not going to start off with these uber beautiful, super picturesque annotations. That's just not how you're going to begin. Let's just start there as far as let's give yourself some grace, Let's give yourself some grace. Let's start at the very beginning, very simple, and let's go from there. And within this, there's going to be like two kind of sections. Anyways, with that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start off with the supplies that you need. This is what I recommend. A small amount of little sticky note flaggy thingies, just a few. Don't go overboard, just a few. And a black pen. This is it. Start with this. That way you can kind of practice and you can kind of see what your vibe is, what makes you think, hey, I want to mark this or I want to do something here. Just start with this. Don't give yourself too many options. I feel like that could potentially overwhelm you. This is how I do it. For each of these colors, I correlate to a certain feeling or a certain mood. Blue, sad moments. When I'm feeling sad, when it's a sad thing to say, when someone says something sad, when there's a sad quote, when there's a sad moment. Green is friendly, happy, funny, LOL moments. Yellow are like the OMG, super memorable, goosebumps, plot twist moments. Pink, that is your lovey, sweet, cute moments. And orange, those are like the moments that like make me angry or I'm just like ugh or like die, like get out of here. That's how I do it. You do it however you want to, but for me, I just have a lot of feelings when I'm reading a book. This kind of helps when it comes to me being able to find quotes that made me feel these certain types of ways or moments that made me feel these certain types of ways. That is what I do. Usually when I'm just using these two things, I use a lot more sticky notes and I'm like annotating like crazy just using sticky notes. But don't feel like you have to. I feel like I go super heavy on the sticky notes when I first start reading a book, and then as I get into it, I start to use less and less. And really, it's just stuff that sticks out to me. I thought that it was going to be quotes in certain things, but sometimes it's not quotes. Sometimes it's full things of dialogue. And that's where the pen comes in. I underline anything and everything that I like, that I want, just sticks out to me as I'm reading it. It doesn't necessarily have to be quotes. It can be places, it can be things, it can be little pieces and phrases within a quote. It can really be anything. That's the nice thing about the black pen. It can be literally anything, everything. I also use brackets when I feel like the section is too much to underline all of it. I'll just bracket it. I also sometimes write in the margins like an LOL or a smiley face or I love this or this is so them, whatever. This is how I start. This is the beginning. This is literally all you need. Also, it's super cheap. Black pen, little sticky notes, uber cheap. Start with this. Get your bearings. Get a feel for it first before you commit to a whole bunch of supplies. Beginner, very beginner. Start with this. Just do this and see what happens and then grow from there. So the second bit that I'm going to talk about is kind of when you want to start to upgrade a little bit. Again, I caution you, keep it simple at the very beginning. Sticky notes, black pen, but then on top of that, I now also have 5 different colors of gel pens. I also have 5 different colors of highlighters, and then I also have a thinner black pen. This one is a 0.5, whereas this one is a 0.7. This is just better as far as like writing in the margins. I just think it looks better than the 0.7. This is what I add on top of my little stickies, and you'll see they're all similar colors, which is helpful because I already know and correlate these colors to like different moods, different things. That way it makes it easier for me to use these different pens and highlighters. Does that make sense? Similar to how I use the black pen to underline things that stick out, that is what I also use these gel pens for. However, something that I've started using them for is for different characters and just different dialogue. Right now I'm reading Throne of Glass. So colors that I correlate with different characters, I've got purple for Selena, I've got blue for Kale, and I've got orange for Dorian. Whenever there's dialogue or whenever there's inner dialogue for any of the characters that I want to make note of or that stand out to me, I use these. That's first and foremost what I use the pens for, and that's for like underlining things. For actual quotes, I use highlighters. And the highlighters, I just correlate again to different feelings that I have with the sticky notes. And now I use sticky notes more for like bigger moments that like I can't just highlight the whole thing. These are for like bigger moments that I know for sure I'll want to go back and find and reread. And it's also for specific quotes that I know I'll want to go back and find. So it's for bigger scenes and then also the quotes that I really, really want to remember and go back to. And then for anything that I don't know exactly what to mark or how to mark it, I just go back to the black pen. This is just for anything and everything that I don't have something to correlate it to. Something else is sometimes there is something within a quote. So sometimes there's dialogue, a back and forth, but then within that dialogue that I want to make note of, there's a quote that I also want to mark. So that's when you get underlines and then also highlights within that. There's also sometimes when there is something within, again, a quote I want to underline, but then there's something that I want to emphasize. I will use my colored gel pens to make squares around things. And that's when it, again, starts correlating to the same method that I use for the sticky notes and also highlighting. Does that make sense? I'll show you some examples. Here are some examples. See, you'll have these sections where I am underlining all the different dialogue between the two characters, but then within that, there's something that I want to pay extra note of, and so that's why I highlight it. I've bracketed things, I've written the margins. Same with over here, I've got underlining because that's what she says, but then I'm also highlighting because it made me laugh or it's just something that I want to make note of again. And so yeah, there's just different things. It's kind of one of those things, as I'm doing it, I'm growing and I'm starting to mark more things and I'm starting to notice more things. It's not like super picturesque, not like a lot of other people's annotations are, but really this is just me learning. This is me growing. It's not going to be perfect from the get-go. It's just a way for me to grow on the things that I already know, which I think is really important. With that, I recommend starting very simple. If you have never annotated a book or if you're not super comfortable with how you're annotating books right now, go back to the basics. Just do the tabbies and do the black pen. See what happens. See how you feel as you are doing it. See which things kind of stick out to you, which things inspire you to mark them. And then from that, grow. Add highlighters. Start to add different colored gel pens. And again, it's not like you have to use the same color scheme that I do, but having a color scheme and then growing within that color scheme is honestly super helpful. That way I don't have any questions or any thoughts of like, oh, what do I mark it? What do I color it? If you want a system, this is a really good system because it's all already laid out for you. You already have your basics and then you can just grow on top of that. That is the video for today. This is how I annotate my books, and also just kind of a little how-to, a very basic way for you to start annotating your own books if you haven't before and you want to upgrade. Give yourself grace, give yourself time to figure out what you like, how you like to mark things. There are tons and tons of videos like this out there. There's also a lot of things on Pinterest and Bookstagram of like different ways that people annotate their books. Look at those as well. Again, if you take anything out of this, just start simple. Have fun with it. Don't feel stressed out while doing it. As soon as you start getting stressed out about it, it's probably not a good fit. If you annotate a lot, great. If you don't, great. If you never want to annotate again, you try this and you never want to annotate again, great. Don't feel like you have to. With that, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you all again soon. Bye!